In this video, I want to talk about China, well, really the Chinese manufacturers that are saying a lot of the goods, as far as expensive name brand luxury goods, are manufactured in China. And then what they do is the majority of the items are made in China. Then they're shipped off to Paris, London, or wherever it may go. And then the finishing touches are put on in those countries. So therefore, now they can say it was made in London, it was made in Paris, and they can use the body of work that was done in China, but put their stamp on it in order to sell it at a higher price. And so, because of the tariffs that's going on, China is more or less exposing all that. What I know from the past, I'm talking about years ago, I remember my mom and I was watching TV, and in this particular program, they was talking about the manufacture of eyewear, eyeglasses that goes to the eye companies, eye stores, and that how some people will choose a luxury brand, a name brand pair of eyeglass frames rather than buying just a generic brand. And in this particular situation, they were showing how the eyeglass was manufactured in the same company. You had the name brand that was being manufactured right next to the non-name brand, the same exact frames, and they was going down a conveyor belt, same frames going down the conveyor belt. One was going in one direction, that was just going to be a pair of generic glasses, and the other frames was going down, which was going to end up being stamped with the name brand. So it's the exact same frame, but what made them different was what was stamped on them, a name brand compared to a non-name brand. So you end up paying more just for the name itself. The quality was the same, the manufacturer was the same, the everything was the same, just the name. So when I see this going on now and they're talking about the handbags, I can believe that. I'm not saying every bag is made in China or every luxury item is made in China, but I do know that some are manufactured in China and then sent to these different locations, and then they finish the bags and then put their name on it. So you're basically paying for the name itself. I'm kind of happy that this happened with the tariff and this information is being exposed and being put out there, because it will kind of wake you up and let you see how you're actually spending your money, what you're spending your money on. Are you getting something that's truly 100% manufactured in Paris, London, or wherever it may be? Or are you getting something that's made in China at a very low cost, and then the price is put up higher just because of the name that is attached to it? So you're not really buying the quality, because if the quality is the same, you're actually paying for the name. And so that, I think that will kind of help people think about how they're actually spending their money moving forward. And then if you think about it, when it comes to the younger generation, you look back, a lot of kids, a lot of young men lost their lives because of a pair of shoes. Someone wanted to take their life in order to take their shoes, or they may have been in a club or somewhere, and they have on a expensive name brand shoe, and someone accidentally stepped on it. A fight break out, and someone ended up losing their lives. So I feel that you're doing all of this for a name of a company that don't represent you. And so it's very important to kind of think about what's important to you, because I see a lot of the problem I really have. I don't have a problem with how people spend their money. I don't have a problem with that. The problem I have, or what bothers me, is when people look down on other people because they don't have on a certain pair of shoes, or they look down on them because they don't have on a certain name brand that they feel they should have, or they don't want to associate with a person because they don't have a certain name brand. Even though the person is clean, even though the person is dressed nice, even though the person smells good, Just because the outer appearance on that person don't represent a name brand, they're not walking around with all this name brand or carrying a name brand bag or a name brand this. They feel that they're less they're not worthy of, and then they ostracize them and then make these kids feel bad because a lot of times parents cannot afford to spend money on these things, or a lot of times some parents choose not to spend their money on these items because they feel like, what's the point? You're going to grow out of them. You're going to grow out of those pants. You're going to grow out of those shoes. They might get damaged, something might happen to them. So I don't want to spend my money on these things, or I don't want you to feel like your worth, your value is wrapped up in these name brand items. So some parents look at it that way and don't buy it, but these kids feel like they have to have it. And so with what China is doing by exposing how some of these companies are using them to make these bags that may cost them $1 to manufacture, $100, $1,000, now they go put their name on it. Now that all of a sudden that $1,000 bag is $10,000, or that $1 item is now $3,000. So it kind of make you think about how you're actually spending your money, what quality and what you're actually getting based on how these people want to put it out into the world. Like, you have to have luxury. You're not valuable unless you have luxury. You're no one's going to listen to you unless you have luxury, because some people, they feel like unless a person drive this type of car, unless this person wear these type of clothes, they haven't made it. They're not successful. So I'm not going to listen to them. I'm not going to take advice from them because they're not showing their money. They're not walking around with their money. Some people choose to leave their money in the bank. Some people choose to invest their money in other things other than name brand items. So I feel that, listening to what God said, because if you look at the Bible in Matthew 6:25, it says, "Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing?" And then when you read Matthew 6:28, it says, "And why are you anxious about clothing?" And I feel that speaks a lot, because a lot of people feel like, I can't go to this place because I don't have the right clothes, or I can't go to this event because I don't have any name brand clothes to put on. I'm going to feel out of place because I know everyone's going to be wearing certain clothing, and they're going to look down on me. And if you strip away all that, if you strip away name brand clothing from everyone, and everyone's just walking around in a uniform, that person who has, I look at the quality of the person, not what they have on, but who they are as an individual, what they're saying as an individual. I put value in the person and not what the person has on. And I feel that more people should do that, and carry themselves based on who they are, the quality of the person, and not what they actually have on. That is more important. And that is something that should be taught to the younger generation. Don't put your value in clothing. Don't put your value in name brand clothes. Who you are is who you are on the inside, not what you put on the outside.